Thank you so much for hitting the play button on your favorite listening device of choice from wherever you listen to podcasts. My name is Duff Tyler, and this is A Duff Said. Now, if you're hearing this podcast for the very first time, welcome aboard. You can catch up on previous episodes of this podcast by going to my website, aduffsaid.com. You can also hear this show by downloading the Podbean app or just clicking on wherever you listen to podcasts. We have got a great conversation lined up for this week's show. My guest this week is Bryson Huckeby. Now, Bryson just wrapped up a very successful 4-year run at Freeland High School. As the 4-year starting quarterback for the football team, Bryson led the Falcons to back-to-back regional championships. That's the first time that's happened in school history. The Falcons nearly punched their ticket to Ford Field this past November in the state semifinals. They finished within inches of making that goal. Instead, they fell that short of the goal line in a heartbreaking loss to Chelsea High School, 30-27. Now, Bryson didn't have long to digest that defeat because a few weeks later, he was on the basketball court. And along with him and several other key members of the Freeland basketball team, the Falcons rode a 25-game winning streak into the Division II Final Four here in the state of Michigan. The Falcons ran the table to a state semifinals appearance at the Breslin Center. What a ride it has been for this kid. And now he is getting back to the place that he once called home. My conversation with Bryson Huckeby starts now.
I'm so darn excited, I can hardly wait to get back to that good old Hoosier state.
It's great.
Again in Indiana, that's the place where I was born. The gleaming candlelight shining brightly, nightly, through the sycamore trees for me.
So, Bryson, you just wrapped up a very successful high school playing career here in the state of Michigan, and certainly we're going to get into that a little bit later. But first, I want to talk about what is next for you. You are moving on to play college basketball at Anderson University in your home state of Indiana. Your family is from the state of Indiana. You were born there before your family moved here to Michigan. How good does it feel to know that you're getting back home again to Indiana?
That feels really good. It's really important to me. I'm really close to my family, mostly within 30 minutes of everybody. So that's really important to me. And I've had some family members play at Anderson, so it's just going to feel really good to be close to everybody again.
Your great-grandfather played basketball at Anderson University. When I was at your house the other day, your folks were showing me some of the things that he collected over the years when he was at Anderson. When you were looking over your decisions for where you wanted to go next, how much of that family legacy played into your decision to ultimately go to Anderson?
I really didn't know that he played there until, well, I guess I did know, but I didn't really know like that much until I was on my visit there, and I was in the field house, and there was a picture of him on his team from like the late 1940s, so that was kind of crazy to me, and then it all just worked out.
We're talking about your great-grandfather that is a member of the Howell family. Now, the Howell family in Indiana is practically basketball royalty. What is it like to know that you are getting a chance to further that family legacy and play at the same school that he did?
Like I said, it feels good because he played there so long ago, and he may be able to watch me a little bit, but I'm pretty excited about it.
Now, as I said a moment ago, you were born in the state of Indiana where people are absolutely crazy about basketball. If you're a Hoosier, basketball is in your DNA. And so now you're going to be a part of that culture once again. How excited are you to be getting back to that environment?
I'm really excited because I think it just means a lot more down there than anywhere else I've seen before. Like I'm excited to be able to go to some high school games because my uncle coaches down there, and just go to some local games and see and compare it to the last 4 years how I've seen it. But I'm really excited to feel the tradition instead of just seeing it maybe twice a year, maybe once a year. I'm really excited to be around it all the time.
When you were looking over your options for where you wanted to go play college basketball, what ultimately led you to Anderson University, aside from that family connection?
Honestly, the family was the number one thing, being around them, but my connection with Coach Andy, he was really strong on me. He's their head coach. He was really strong on me from the beginning, and that was probably the biggest thing. And then when I went down for my visit, I was with some players for a while, and they were really good to me and seemed like I would fit in with them. So that was really what led me to it.
What really stood out about Anderson?
They have a really good – I'm going into mechanical engineering, and I really liked their facilities for engineering. They have a really cool engineering facility, and I really like to make stuff like wood shop and metal shop, and they have a really, really nice shop so I can go in and work in. And then their basketball facilities are really nice, and I just think that overall the whole campus just felt right. And like I said, their education-wise, it really stood out.
You know, I had no idea you were into mechanical engineering. What got you into that?
In 8th grade, I've always been like a strong student in math and science, and I've always really liked those versus like English and social studies. But in 8th grade, I took applied tech, and that was only like a marking period long, and I really liked it. So I took it in high school my freshman year, and then ever since then, the past 3 years, I've taken it. So I took metal shop manufacturing all 4 years of high school. I took wood shop the past 2 years of high school, and I've been in calculus and AP calculus the past 2 years. So I think that just my experiences with fabricating and engineering as a whole, I really just like it, and that's what I'm going to do.
What are you hoping to do with mechanical engineering after you graduate?
Like I said, I've been in like doing fabricating in high school all throughout. So I want to go into manufacturing. Like, I'm not sure doing what yet, but I really like manufacturing, and that's something that you could do with going through mechanical engineering.
Your brother Jackson just wrapped up a very successful career playing basketball at Trine University not long ago, and now he lives in the Indianapolis area. And he was telling me the other day he's been busy working with construction of one of Indiana's biggest interstate road projects. And that just shows that there comes a day for everybody when those playing days are over. And certainly there's still plenty of those days ahead for you at Anderson, but where do you see yourself after that time ends?
I really don't know, honestly. I think I'll figure that out here in the next few years with going through school, and maybe even I want to change my major, whatever I want to do. But as of now, I just want to do engineering, play basketball, and then look into manufacturing afterwards.
Oh, absolutely. And I know you're probably totally zoned in right now on getting onto the court and making a huge impact for the Ravens, as they're called at Anderson University. You're going to be playing at the Division III level, which obviously is a lot different from D1 or even Division II, where your dad Barry is an assistant coach at Saginaw Valley State University. But there's going to be some challenges that you're going to have to face at the D3 level. What are some obstacles that you're anticipating out there?
I think just adjusting to the different level, the pace of play, and the strength that comes with it. And, I mean, obviously, also the three-point line is going to be back in a few feet, so I have to get used to that. But I think overall just adjusting to the pace of play and then adjusting to living in college and not coming home and being able to just chill after a long day, but having to focus on myself.
You know, talking about the three-point line being back just a little bit further at the college level, and you, of course, being from the state of Indiana, you're a native Hoosier. This whole conversation just now reminded me of that scene in the movie Hoosiers when they bust out the tape measure to measure the height of the rim to the floor.
10 feet. I think you'll find it's exact same measurements as our gym back in Hickory.
So obviously that's still the same height, so there's not that much difference in terms of the environment that you'll be playing in. And speaking of the environment that you're going to be playing in, what kind of impact are you hoping to make, and what are some goals that you've set for yourself when you get to Anderson?
I think I just want to play whatever role that I'm assigned, whether it's scoring or passing or rebounding or just doing whatever I need to do to get on the floor and help my team win.
Coming up, we take a look at Bryson's time at Freeland High School and how it all started in the backyard at his family's house. If it's pizza night, Sheldon Street Pizza has got you covered. But if you're sticking to salad, be sure to cover it in one of Sheldon's signature dressings. Sheldon Street Pizza now has homemade ranch, Italian, and Greek salad dressings bottled up and ready for purchase. You can also order a freshly prepared salad from Sheldon because at Sheldon Street Pizza, it's more than just pizza. Order today by calling 248-791-7111, or you can visit them online at sheldonstreetpizza.com, or just stop by 3767 South Baldwin Road in Orion Township. If it's pizza time, it's time to go to Sheldon Street Pizza. And that's a Duff Said. Looking for the best hard cider in Oakland County? Then stop by Fourth Coast Cider Works. Located in the main entrance to Canterbury Village, Fourth Coast has many flavors on tap, and some you can take home. Fourth Coast is open Thursday through Sunday. For a complete list of ciders and hours, go to fourthcoastciderworks.com. Fourth Coast Cider Works. Quality craftsmanship, quality hard cider. Not available to anybody under the age of 21. Please drink responsibly. Once again, I want to say thank you so much for hitting the play button on this podcast. Now, for as little as $2 a month or $24 a year, you can help this show to continue to grow and provide the content that you enjoy. And if you become a patron of A Duff Said, we have got a lot of great gifts in store for you. We've got bumper stickers, we've got t-shirts. Heck, I'll even record your voicemail message. So if you're having trouble ever figuring out what to say, I'll say it for you. And that's A Duff Said. If you'd like to become a patron of A Duff Said, all you got to do is go to patron.podbean.com/A Duff Said.
Dooley dumps to Elliott at midcourt. Now a lob to the top. Huckeby left open for three, and he drills it. Coming left to right at midcourt with Huckeby. Dribbles to the free throw line. Fakes a pass. Gets by the big fella and lays it in softly with the right hand. Elliott is dancing by his defender, getting by midcourt. Kicking out to Huckeby. Right back to Elliott. Now back to Huckeby. 1-2, 1-2. Down low, the basket and the foul. Wow.
Wow, indeed. That was the voice of Brad Tunney from ESPN 100.9 WLUN-FM out of Midland with the coverage of Freeland boys basketball from this past season. Now, speaking of Brad Tunney, he's been a guest before on A Duff Said, and you can hear his story by going to my website, aduffsaid.com, and looking for episode 37, Minor League Baseball Post-Pandemic. So my first meeting with Bryson Huckeby happened when I went to his home in Freeland back in 2018. Now, back in March of that year, I interviewed his older brother Jackson after the Freeland Falcons had just won the district championship in boys basketball. Soon after, their mother Jennifer came up to me on the court and told me that I needed to come out and check out the basketball court in the Huckabees' backyard. Here is their story. When an Indiana family moved to Freeland nearly a decade ago, they wanted to bring one of their state's biggest traditions with them: basketball. They wanted to build the best court possible for their kids, but what they got turned out to be a slam dunk for the whole community. This is a typical afternoon in the Huckabees' backyard. Barry and Jennifer Huckeby are your typical Hoosiers. They have basketball in their DNA.
We are very much a rich basketball family from top to bottom.
Jennifer played in college at East Tennessee State. Her father, Jimmy, is an Indiana high school coaching legend.
There you go. Willie Zach.
Barry also played in college and is currently on the coaching staff for the Saginaw Valley State men's team.
You'll be all right.
When Team Huckeby moved to Michigan, they had two requirements for their new home.
We wanted a house big enough for our family and the biggest court that we could fit in the backyard.
They found the perfect neighborhood.
Said if anybody needs to live on a street like hardwood court, it's us.
They built the perfect court.
People obviously like to come over and shoot on it every once in a while. We have a lot of games going on in the summer. People coming over. It's just pretty fun. It's a nice little place to gather.
The court brought the Huckabys closer to their neighbors. Living on a cul-de-sac gave them the perfect name for their circle of friends.
We call ourselves the SAC, and these are SAC brothers, and we have SAC moms and SAC dads. And
we can talk to each other about anything. We'll all go hang out on the weekends, and no matter the age. Like, we go from a freshman in college to a fourth grader right now. Like, we all hang out. It doesn't matter.
Before long, they went from this court to the Freeland High School gym. Last month, 3 SAC brothers helped the Falcons win their 4th straight district title.
I know we had good players, but you always got to think that Freeland's a small community, and there's always people better out there. But the fact that we could stay together and stay tight, I think the chemistry that we developed on this court helped us a lot in the game.
It's the Huckabys' connection to their home state, and it's paying off in a big way in mid-Michigan.
I just wanted to build a court for all the kids to be able to play basketball and bring a little bit of Indiana here, and I think that we've accomplished that.
And they're not done yet. They're actually going to be making a big addition to the court this summer. They're going to put lights around it, so you can expect those summertime games to go a whole lot longer. So that kind of gives you an idea of the environment that Bryson Huckeby grew up in and the traditions that he was a part of. But despite all that, Bryson, when it was your turn to start playing sports at Freeland High School, did you ever imagine that you would have the kind of impact that you did on Freeland?
To be honest, no, not really. I think that basketball has always been, good. I mean, it's been decent at Freeland for a long time, but it's never been, as good as we were this year. Even last year, we were pretty good, but we didn't win a district. I don't know, had 13 wins or something, but I think that I couldn't have imagined the season we had this year when I was a freshman. I couldn't even comprehend it.
What do you remember about your first game?
I know that we were playing Bay City Western at Bay City Western, and I had my first points on a 3 from the top of the key, a little bit on the right side. I know that. And then my first points were a 3 from the top of the key. And I know we lost that game because we had 3 free throws as time expired, and we were down by 3, and Jace Bushy made the first 2, and he made the last one, and the ref called a lane violation, so he lost.
And knowing you and the type of person you are, I'm sure you learned a lot from that experience. You probably took a lot of notes from that night, and it's crazy that you went from losing your first varsity game, really on a technicality, to losing your last varsity game just 1 game shy of taking Freeland to the state championship game. That's a level that Freeland had never been to before, and we're going to break down all of that. But first, I want to start by asking you, how did you develop the maturity level necessary to get the Falcons to that stage?
I think that maturing was a lot that had to do with it, and just putting in the work in the off season. And the biggest thing for us this year was our 9 seniors that have been playing together for I don't even know how long. Most of us have been playing together since 3rd grade, but I think that just growing up together was a huge thing, and we always stayed close together, and we all played well on the floor together and knew what each other was doing.
The Falcons nearly had a perfect season in boys basketball this year, and you guys got to the biggest stage in the state of Michigan for high school basketball, and you got to play in a Big Ten arena. What was this ride like for you?
It was really surreal. We, ever since Coach got here, right before my sophomore year when we had our basketball meeting, we had the Breslin on the opening slide of the PowerPoint, and it was kind of just we'll probably never do that, but I mean, it's a good dream to have. But then when you're actually walking out on the floor and seeing, I think there was 5,000 people there, it was pretty crazy.
So the writing really was on the wall for you guys to get to the Breslin Center, but like anybody knows, in order to make that happen, everything has to work in your favor. Everything has to align just right in order for that to happen. So how did you guys go from writing it on the wall to actually stepping out onto the floor at the Breslin Center?
I think that the past 3 years, everything had to do with it, because my sophomore year, when we have at one point at least three, maybe four starters that were sophomores, with me, Alex, and Josh, and I think Cullen started some games, but with having that young of a team, and then us going through that, and us going through sophomore year, playing against kids that are older than us, and still winning games, it made a huge impact on us and allowed us to grow from those situations. And then going through COVID together and having to still be able to get work in the gym, even though we were outside most of the time. And then obviously we're seniors now, and now it's just us, and we got 9 of us, and having to work together like we have been the past 3 years. I think that was the biggest thing, that we had played together the last 3 years, so we knew how each other operated and we knew how to win.
Obviously, things did not work out the way that you were hoping for in the state semifinals against Williamston, but now that you've had a chance to really look back and reflect on everything that you guys got done this past season, what's it like to know that out of all the teams in the state of Michigan in Division II, one of the last 4 teams left standing was Freeland?
I think that it was pretty crazy that we're one of the final 4 teams, just because I really still haven't even had too much time to even think about that. But it's just, I'm really grateful for Coach and for all my teammates and all the effort that they put into playing basketball for our hometown and making it a fun season for us.
You went through a coaching change midway through your time with the basketball team at Freeland. John Fattel came in and had immediate success with the program, but what role did he play specifically into molding you into a college basketball player?
Coach Fattel has had a huge impact on me, and I hope that I've had a huge impact on him as well, just because we were his first coaching gig, and he was learning everything. At the same time, we were learning everything because we were sophomores, and he was in his first year coaching. And I think that me and him, after I've graduated, me and him have been, and we will continue being, really good friends. I mean, after my grad party, he was one of the only people at my house till it was probably 11 o'clock, and we were just talking. So he's had a really huge impact on me, and I'm excited to keep being his friend.
You got a lot of people in your inner circle that live the sport of basketball. Your mom and dad both played in college. As I said earlier, your dad coaches at SVSU as an assistant. You've got other members of your family that have been coaches and have been very successful doing it. What's it like for you to have that kind of support group?
All of them had a really, really big impact on me. But from my mom being not just the average mom, she knows how to get her way around the basketball court from her days, and she was a good player. And my dad playing in college and now coaching at Saginaw Valley, and my grandpa, he wasn't around my games that much when I was younger because he was always coaching, but this year he wasn't coaching as much, so he was able to come to my games. And my dad's dad, he came to every single game, so pretty much every single game from when I was a sophomore ongoing. So everybody's had a huge impact, and I'm just excited I get to be back in their area so they don't have to travel 300 miles one way to come see me.
And certainly that was not easy for Barry and Jimmy to make the time to be there at your games, but when they could be there, how special was that for you to look up in the stands and see them there cheering you on?
Every single time I looked up and saw someone from Indiana, it just made me so good inside that they feel like they need to support me even though I'm so far away. It feels really good.
And it wasn't just the basketball people that had such a profound impact on you. We can't forget your neighbor, Kevin Townsend. He, of course, is the football coach at Freeland High School. You've grown up around him, and when you were a freshman, he tapped you on the shoulder and said he wanted you to be his starting quarterback. So when he approached you about the possibility of taking on that role, did you have any fears or jitters about it?
If I remember correctly, I was actually so this was the week before, last week of the year, I was at my aunt's wedding, and I guess he had already asked my dad if he would be okay with it, because I was just a little kid. I wasn't be playing against grown men, but if I remember correctly, I was at my aunt's wedding, and I think my dad mentioned something to me about it. And then I got to practice on Monday, and he called me in his office, and he said, well, you ready? And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
What was that feeling like, that first time you stepped out on the field and lined up under center, and this is it? There's no turning back now. You're going to be taking snaps for the Falcons.
I think the Franklin Moose was really good that year. They were 7-1, only lost to the Swan Valley, who was ranked probably top 5 in the state. But the very first drive of theirs, we blocked their punt. So I got the ball on the probably 30-yard line with the 30 yards to score a touchdown. And we ran a run play our first time, and I got knocked down. And I was like, well, this is going to be a tough game, and that's going to be every play. And then the very next play, Coach called up a pass play, which we only do probably 5 to 6 times a game. And so that just shows the confidence that he had me. And I completed that pass to Jace for like 15 yards, and then we went down and scored. So that really got all the jitters out.
Freeland football has always been a winning program, but you played a central role in taking it deep into the postseason to levels it had never been before. What is it like to know that you helped make that happen?
I think Coach always talks about that. He always talks about how he doesn't want to be a team anymore that goes 7-2, 8-1, and loses their third game of the playoffs or loses their second game of the playoffs. He doesn't care about winning those seemingly meaningless games in the regular season. He wants to make a deep playoff run, and I think that we all as freshmen or sophomores decided that we needed to be that team, and we ended up being it with making 2 deep runs, which were our first back-to-back regionals in school history.
And you know something? Just hearing you say that, I mean, obviously I heard that in your voice, but I could totally hear Kevin Townsend coming out of you just now by you saying that, because that's the kind of coach that he is, and it's obvious that he made quite the impression with you. What was it like to play for him and to learn from him?
Even outside of football, he was someone that I really learned from being my health teacher in middle school to then becoming my eventual football coach for 3.5, 4 years. And we've always had a good relationship. I've been his next door neighbor for probably 12 years. So we've always had a special relationship, but then going from being next door neighbors and friends to player coach and now going back to friends is going to be something that I'm excited for.
I know for a lot of people in Freeland, it still stings just a little bit that you guys were just a few inches shy of going to the state championship game and getting the opportunity to represent Freeland inside Ford Field. What do you remember about that play?
I remember that we had 3rd and 4 on the 6-yard line, a 5-yard line probably. And so I'm like, and there was, I think, a minute and a half left, and we're down by 3. And then we drew up a play for me to fake to Garrett and keep the ball and hopefully score a touchdown. Well, we fumbled the snap, unfortunately, and so we only gained 1 yard on that play. Then we had 4th and 3, and we told Coach that we don't want to kick the field goal. We want to win the game. And I would still go by that today. I wouldn't kick the field goal. I would go for the win. And everybody agreed, and so we went for it and came up about a foot short. But like I said, I would still go for it 10 times out of 10. I wouldn't kick the field goal. We wanted to win the game.
And I know you just described that, and I know you said you had the confidence that you guys could get the job done. You didn't want to go for the field goal. You guys wanted to go for the win. But looking back on it now, is there maybe even just a little part of you that wishes you guys had kicked the field goal?
No, I really don't. I think that we wanted our season. We knew our season was on the line right there, and we thought that, our mentality the whole year, or for our whole entire program, is 4 yards every play. 4 yards every play will get you a first down. and we needed 3 yards, and we got 2 3/4 of a yard. So, like I said, I would still go for it 10 times out of 10.
Now, I know that you have that confidence that you can and you will get the job done. Maybe not on that particular play last November, but you certainly have what it takes to get the job done in life. Now, you have that confidence, you have that swagger, but you're also a humble guy as well. You're not one to brag, and you probably give more credit to those around you rather than yourself. But I want you to look back now on everything that you did for the football, the basketball, the track teams at Freeland. I want you to look at everything that you did to represent the entire Freeland community. When you look at all of that, what grade would you give yourself?
I would like to give myself an A, just because of the effort that I know I put in, not because of the wins I had or the records I have, but I would just say just for the effort that I put in and from the impact that I've seen that I have, especially on the younger kids, how they treat me and how they like how I treat them. So I would think I would give myself an A just because I feel like I've been a really good role model for the younger kids coming up.
That's pretty much the grade that I had for you as well. You did a tremendous job, and you deserve that A. You are, of course, the latest member of the Sack family to move on to an athletic career at the collegiate level. I can't wait to see what you do next. Bryson Huckeby, thank you so much for making the time this week on A Duff Said. All the best to you moving forward.
Thanks, Duff.
And that's going to be a wrap on this edition of A Duff Said. Once again, I want to thank our sponsors, Sheldon Street Pizza and Fourth Coast Cider Works, located here in the Lake Orion area. Now, if you like what you heard and you want to hear more from A Duff Said, be sure to check out my website, aduffsaid.com. A Duff Said can be heard by downloading the Podbean app, or really just listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on Facebook by going to my Facebook page, Sports Journalist Duff Tyler. You can also hit me up on Twitter. Just look for Duff Tyler. Until next time, I am Duff Tyler, and I'm reminding you that if Duff said it, it must be true, because that's what a Duff said.